welcome to the very first Austin Glug event. And tonight I'm joined by Emily. Emily's here, so she's our very, very special host this evening.
So for 5 years, my friends and I put on a Texas art and beer festival where we paired up breweries from all over Texas with contemporary artists and helped them to collaborate and find sort of the similarities between their processes.
So Guerilla Suit, we're based here in Austin on the east side, and we've been around for about 10 years or so. We like to combine design with the business and strategy and help our clients grow.
We've worked together officially in official capacity for about a year only, but we've known of each other and worked in Austin for a long time. I know you've been at Guerilla Suit for about 8 years, 9 years?
Yeah.
And I've been in Austin working since like 2002. So we've all known each other through the design community here.
And we're both kind of leading collaboratively the design team. We're both design directors there. So we're here to kind of show some of our work, especially with beer.
Yeah, thank you.
When all you need is a beer, but not just any beer, but an easy drinking, go with the flow, anytime, any mood beer, then all you need is Love Street. It's a crisp Kolsch-style blonde. It comes in this trippy can here. You just open it up like this and drink it. And you just might find some good music and good friends pop up along the way. When all you need is a beer, but not just any beer, all you need is Love Street. Brewed with love in Houston, Texas by the Karbach Brewing Company.
Well, that was awesome. So would you guys like to introduce, I mean, you've already made a great introduction there, but if you'd like to introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about what you do, who you work with.
Yeah, so I'm Ryan Thompson. I'm with Guerilla Suit. I'm a design director along with Luigi over here. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Luigi, design director and partner at Guerilla Suit. And
yeah,
we're here to talk about love.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah, it couldn't have been better to have an opportunity to talk and have a beer called Love Street and have some really groovy, lovey-dovey animations to show off to you guys. So it was all the things, Kismet and all that. I want to take a quick second and really thank Kat for inviting us and putting on this amazing event and Glug. So lucky to have this happen, and it's kind of like the first of many, I think, right? Yeah, I just want to thank all you guys for spending your Valentines too. Oh my God. So Guerilla Suit, we're an agency on the east side here in Austin. We've been in business for around 10 years. And we're kind of an agency where like disciplines of design and all kinds of multidisciplinary things come together with business to kind of come and play. And we have a lot of fun with all of our brands. And so we're going to be talking about Karbach. And our Karbach is out of Houston. They're not independent. They're not from Austin. So we're a little bit of a black sheep here.
We'll be nice.
Yeah. They started making beer in 2011, so they're kind of relatively young for a company of their size. And in 2013, they were mentioned in like the New Yorker as like one of the fastest growing craft breweries in Texas, and Austin Beer Works was not very far behind them, actually. And in 2016, they were acquired by Anheuser-Busch. We started working with them in 2017. And as most projects at Guerilla Suit begin, we begin with like this fearless, comprehensive dive into their backstory, who they are, into their world, about what makes them special. And for Karbach, it meant kind of recalibrating and recentering what it meant to be a craft brewery that was like experiencing this amount of growth. And they needed strategy from us. And so how would they be able to stay true to who they are? Let me see here. I think we're going to sleep a little bit. Hopefully I don't have to do that too many more times. So what does it mean to be a craft brewery that's growing like crazy? How do you stay true to your Texas roots? How do you reach for new fans and followers and stay true? And so we developed this huge brand deck for them that kind of served as our center of gravity and our North Star as we moved ahead with creative decisions. And we uncovered their passion, like their original passion for making beer, where it comes from, and the inspiration they actually really take from like being Texan, and have a really strong connection to Texas music as well. They aren't scared of poking fun at themselves, and they really don't do a whole lot of hand wringing about target audiences and target markets and all those things that you might think they might do as being as big as they are. But they just make good beer that they believe in, and people kind of show up for it.
They're full of dad jokes. If you ever want to spend some time reading their packaging, it's awesome. And
Lots
we
of puns.
really wanted to retain some of that spirit and like rock and roll.
Yeah. So we mood boarded a lot for them. We built them a mobile dive bar with a working jukebox and arcade machine. That was pretty nuts, but it was awesome. And we get to have a lot of fun with their personality. Their can lineup, by the way, as you'll see, is bonkers. It's something that we inherited as their agency, and we're slowly working with it, and it challenges us every day. But we love that they are kind of unapologetic about it. We like them to be unapologetic about it, and for them and us, it's kind of what's inside that counts. And we're slowly teasing out all the things that we want to see from them over the last few years. But so maybe one day we'll be rebranding. Shh. But we're here to talk about one can in particular, Love Street. So this is the can design we inherited. It has a split color like all the Carbot cans do. Has some funky type and primary colors, which will actually come in handy, which is crazy. Later on, it kind of it was actually kind of helpful. Hell yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But it's not as much about, so you see this can design, and it's not really, right away we're like, oh crap, what are we going to do with this thing? But it's not much about the can design as much as what it represents. And just under the surface was just an amazing story, because Love Street is not just a sort of charming little name. It actually has this heritage in Houston for being like one of the first psychedelic music venues. And the original name was Love Street Light Circus Feel Good Machine. And you can see those great, awesome posters there. And it was where like the 13th floor elevators got their start. ZZ Top allegedly played their first
that
gig
was
there.
their first venue. Yeah.
And this kind of stuff is like crack cocaine to us and like designers in general, because when you find this sort of undercurrent of like awesomeness, you really just want to keep digging. And so as they looked to introduce Love Street to like a new audience and they started expanding, our first effort was to develop a campaign around Love Street, and basically how to scale it, how to take it to print, take it to web banners, everything that you can think of, video, obviously, and also create a world for it to live in and comfortably adapt to all these places. So what would it look like, and what would it say? So I'll let Luigi take it from here and keep going.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my phone.
We got this nifty little clicker called the phone. So naturally, I mean, we dove right into the wealth of visual psychedelia that's from the 60s and 70s, and so we drew inspiration from illustrators and designers like John Alcorn, Heinz Edelman, even Mary Blair, Disney's It's a Small World,
It's a Small
right?
World.
But
It's
we
amazing.
but we kind of skewed more towards the more adult, trippy, acid-inducing side to keep going with this. And so, part of the challenge was in creating such a visually rich concept was being able to kind of keep it modular, knowing how many assets and different dimensions that we were going to have to execute this in. We started playing with sketches and trying out our best lines of copy and seeing what they started feeling like. And these sketches, as you see them, is what we presented to the client. This was a great way for them to kind of envision the full impact of the copy, but in relationship to the can and the world around it. And I think this is one where they came back with the classic, can we make the can bigger? Can we make the logo a little bigger? And so, we kept going, and really kind of pushing the boundaries of how complex we really wanted to make this. How legible would that tagline be? All, before starting getting lost with, font choices and color combinations, right? We kept it at this level for a while.
we like working this way with Carbach, especially. They sort of allow us to sketch and be dirty and rough, and not many clients will let that happen because they're kind of insecure about where it's going.
Right.
But we get to fail fast and make a lot of good choices, bad choices, and figure out where we're going really early
without
on.
really losing a lot of time. And I mean, the trust that they've been giving us and the creative license has been kind of unbelievable compared to other clients. And I mean, we love all of our clients, but we're promoting a beer that kind of looks like drugs in some of this. And it's like, really, you're letting us do this? Are you sure? But all right. We kept going with taglines, and all you need is Love Street is where we landed. And once we knew everyone was happy with that, it was kind of full steam after that. Started involving tons of digital ads in all kinds of proportions and sizes. The typical, a billboard. We started getting, out-of-home stuff, print ads, and even an entire fleet of trucks and wrapped.
This is like the greatest thing with the current political climate, to have these trucks running around like Texas is amazing. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, there are delivery vans wrapped in this. I mean, honestly, we deliver the assets. If one of you guys sees one of these, let us know, because we've yet to see them. I mean, they made them, right? I hope they did.
I hope they did. We got a shitload of them.
I hope. But, in tandem with this campaign, we were also tasked to adapt this new creative to a commemorative Tallboy can to be part of ACL Fest. So that was cool and a big deal. And so this guy was at the festival, not to mention that that year Paul McCartney was headlining. So that was kind of a match made in heaven with All You Need Is Love Street. And then a commemorative 12-ounce six-pack to go along with that.
Take over now. So now we're getting into the television and radio spots that we developed. You saw the first one when we started. And so we knew we needed to tap our network of friends and experts to help us build this universe out even further. And I want to give a quick shout out to Ariel Cantons from Beast, who helped us produce these, Amanda Fox from Spotson for the amazing production, Shindig, who did the music and VO, and last but not least, Mark Schofield, who's the animator on this project. So as you can see, it takes a village to do this kind of stuff. It's not just us in a room, trying to figure it all out. So it was all orchestrated with our great team at Guerilla Suit, with Jordan, who's here tonight, Jordan Foland, and Julie Warenoff, who are our intrepid project management team to coordinate all this work. So we were tasked with producing 2 30-second spots and 2 15-second spots. And we'll be showing the other one at the end here. So once again, for these spots, these motion and audio and all these components, we looked to the past again to see what we could kind of drudge up, what could we get inspired by. And we found these crazy commercials from the 70s and 60s that were just super wordy, oddly trippy for no reason. Kind of groovy and laid back. It felt really Carbach-y and very Love Streety. It's like but at the same time they're like selling Pepsi and like
7-Up
Folgers, and you're like, okay, this was really laid back era. But they had big colors, long-winded narrators, all those things. And so once we had the script, we started storyboarding, like crazy. And the narration part of it was something that we found super cool, and just thought it would chill everybody out when they saw it, which to have someone explain everything to you in voiceover would be just super okay, sit back, watch this thing, you're gonna get talked to for a minute. But we needed a character for that, so this is our guy in the early stages, the dude, early stages of how he might move, how he might look, what his hair is like, all that stuff. And while we were storyboarding, final reads of the script were getting made, the music was getting created, the voiceovers were getting cast. We were able to, we built an animatic from our storyboards to kind of figure out the timing what the transitions would be like. Are there any like gotcha moments where we need to figure out more complex transitions? That's the one thing about doing video and animations, even from still storyboards, is like, how do you get from one scene to the next? That's a pretty big question mark almost all the time. So those help tremendously in timing, especially when you have to be exactly 30 seconds.
Let me go back to that one a little bit again, because this was a pretty pivotal moment in terms of getting client feedback and moving on to the next stage. Because up until this point, we were like doodling, and we're like,
we did go pretty far without them.
We're like, all right, you're approving all of this. We're gonna hand this over to an illustrator at some point and cross our fingers. But we knew, we were collaborating with an amazing team, and so the next step for us was starting to build the assets. To build these like elaborately like trippy scenes, we took the more is more mentality. And so this was, an extensive library, and this is just a portion, but an extensive library of assets that we could later have to start building these scenes, right? And as they translated from sketches to vectors, quickly like color became of importance because honestly, up until this point, as Ryan mentioned, we inherited the color palette from Love Street, which is like blue, yellow, and red.
Yeah, which actually fits the era, which is why it like fit. But
Right.
then now we have this challenge to like create this big universe.
Right, and so in order to kind of stay away from a very flat and homogeneous landscape, we knew we needed to kind of introduce new colors and keep it dynamic and trippy, right? Ryan, what is your password? There we go. When it came time to give the dude some life and color, we put on our wardrobe stylist hat and we started tinkering with color and what he would wear. Oh my goodness. You're popular today. All right.
I'm getting texts. Blowing up over here.
Happy Valentine's
How many
Day.
dates do we have tonight, dude? Keeping in mind too how the palette of this guy would interact with the rest of the landscape. But there was a winner, and it was this guy. And what you see here, this was the first deliverable that Mark, the illustrator, dropped on Slack for us. Needless to say, it broke Slack. We're so stoked.
Yeah, he took our.
We're like, oh my god, dude.
Yeah, the fact that he was
moving.
taking our vectors and making it do that, we're like, oh my god, it was great. And this is where we started having discussions about scale and about line wiggle. Such an important thing. But it really made all the difference to kind of have him the way he is in terms of wiggling and kind of moving in such a
Did he ever get a name?
He never got
He kind
a
of
formal
was just
name.
like the dude or the guy, you know? Because it was just
Yeah.
this easygoing dude, and we didn't.
I know.
But
the dude just fit.
So yeah, I mean, as Ryan mentioned, that was another. It's small details. Like we wanted the line weights and the outlines to kind of vibrate and stay organic, similar to like the animations that we've seen from the 60s and 70s. So that was part of it. And then the stroke consistency in this was something too that we wanted to kind of keep consistent, and that was a stylistic decision. So this was another way to test kind of how thick the line could get before he just kind of started falling apart, or the details, how much we wanted to retain.
If you ever watch The Simpsons, pay attention to the line weight. It's crazy. It just stays the same.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it.
And it's like, we never really considered that before, but.
Yeah, never noticed. But.
So, for one of these spots, this guy needed his own lovebird, and we started exploring what that was, right? And they were just a perfect match. They were in love, and then so once we got the characters nailed down, we started building these scenes, and this is honestly what we handed over to Mark. And we're like, all right, fingers crossed, give some life to this. And so these were like, on Illustrator, we built these out. And as you see it, that was an artboard, and that was a frame. And we were giving them, I guess, keyframes, right?
Keyframes that are, I mean, there's, tons of layers in there.
Yeah.
And each thing is individually layered. We weren't mean to the guy. Like we grouped
he nailed
everything,
it.
and
It was amazing.
But yeah, it was still amazing that he was able to take as many assets as we threw at him and kind of make these great scenes with him. And this is kind of a little animation test too.
Yeah, and again, these are some of the keyframes that we gave him, and that was the beauty of working with him too, because he was able to kind of see opportunities and transitions from one keyframe to the next. And he was able to kind of get involved in the kind of improvised creation of some of these animations. And these are frames from the next spot that we'll close up with. But yeah, he did amazing.
Yeah.
And this is the second spot.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, there was a time when time stood still and you could pause the hustle and bustle to unwind with good music and a cold, refreshing beer. Well, friend, that time can now be any time thanks to Love Street Kolsch Style Blonde. It's a crisp, easy drinking, go-with-the-flow beer brewed with floral German hops. Hello. Well, hi there. When all you need is to kick back and give the soul some free time, all you need is Love Street. Brewed with love in Houston, Texas by the Carbach Brewing Company.
There you have it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Crazy. Thank you.
So
Thanks.
just to close it out, I'd like to ask each of you for your tip for a happy, healthy, loving relationship between designer and client.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I think communication is number one. I mean, I think people have talked about it up here already. Feedback, understanding each other, what your common goal is, right? And then understanding, too, that it's a business at the end of the day. I mean, as much as we get to create crazy stuff for Carbach and do this crazy stuff, the fact that they're letting us do this, we feel like we're getting away with something a little bit. But we also know that they need to sell beer and they need to attract the right people and make sure that our goals are aligned with their business goals as well. So that's keeping each other's interests in mind is one of the main things. And part of that is communication all the time. Like just making sure it's clear where we're headed, what's going on. That way they're not always asking you to make the logo bigger all the time.
And not to mention that they're in a different city. And of course we take trips and take turns on major presentations, but these sketches and kind of not going all the way in, but kind of showing them and teasing them every step of the way really help get the ball rolling and not be a burden.
Yeah, and I think you can actually build trust if you just get permission for them to I just want to work. If you want to work a certain way, talk about it early and often about how you want to work and how they want and what they're going to see. So setting expectations that way, and you're going to have to build trust, but eventually you'll get to that relationship where...
Seems like it would also make it more comfortable for the client to give feedback when they're not like, you've made this
You made all this stuff, and
Yeah.
if it's just a pencil line, it's a little bit less of a bomb going off, right?
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so
Thank you.
much.
Yeah,
Happy
thank you guys
for
Valentine's
having us.
Day.
Yeah, thanks, man.